Folks, we have some wonderful partnering organizations across the state of South Dakota. You're going to see them on the screen here. Family Voice, the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America, the Knights of Columbus, South Dakota, Catholic Conference, Concerned Women for America, and of course, South Dakota Right to Life. We have representatives from these groups. I'd like to ask the representatives to please come forward at this time. You please welcome them as they come forward. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I am missing a fifth. Family Voice. Who is here representing Family Voice? Oh, no, here we go. Come on up, Bill. Okay, so I'll tell you what, we work so closely with all of these organizations here in the state of South Dakota, and we're just going to give them a moment to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about who they are and what they do, all right? So I'm going to begin the microphone right here, and we'll go right down. So take your time, tell us about what you do.
Sure, my name is Adam Schwend. I'm the Western Regional Director of Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America, the largest pro-life political organization in the United States. Some of the work that we've been doing particularly has been around communications. We've been very blessed that in our state team, we have kind of two teams. We've got the team that does lobbying and communications on the national level, which is probably what you've seen a lot of, but we also have a newer state team that lobbies and does communications on the state level. In fact, our state communication director for all of the states in the country lives in Spearfish and was with a communication director for Governor Groots. So she knows South Dakota very, very well, and we're very, very blessed to have her. Some of the frustrations I think you have seen probably across the nation is the misinformation that comes out from the abortion industry and the pro-abortion advocates. And I think we're very blessed that we have a couple of states that we can point to show how to combat that. One of them is Florida. They have done a great amount of work in Florida to combat the misinformation that is coming from their ballot measure there, as well as just the abortion industry, period. The other one really is South Dakota. I think what the secretary was saying is that who wins elections matters, and who she appoints in those positions matter as well. We were taking a look at the success that you've had here in South Dakota around medical education, and we were taking that idea and shopping it around to other states. Many legislators really liked that idea, really liked what you have done here in South Dakota. Here was the problem. The problem was that we couldn't get an agency to want to do it and do it well, and that we could trust to do it and not do it in a sabotaged way. So, and these are red states. These are states that you would think the agency should be on our side. So you are very, very blessed to have such an incredible Secretary of Health who wants to protect babies and serve women. That isn't always assumed. So always be involved not only in making sure that you're electing good people, but that those good people that you elect are nominating and appointing and having confirmed really, really good agency heads, because that is where so much of the work has been done, as you saw in that incredible video. And we point to that all the time. And the doctors that we've talked to in South Dakota, the ones that aren't either abortion advocates or communists, they really appreciate that. They genuinely have said, that helps a lot. Thank you very much. And when you talk to folks who are honest about it, that's what you get. Yeah. So thank you very much, Dale. We always love working with our partners in South Dakota, and thank you for hosting today.
Yeah, thanks, Dale, for inviting us. I'm one of the directors of Family Voice from Sioux Falls. My name is Bill Buck. We have 3 directors from the eastern part of South Dakota, and then we have 4 or 5 out on the western part. But we're, Norman Woods is our director, and he's out at the legislative conference all through that, monitoring the bills and things that are going through there, that we can build up an army of prayer warriors. I think that's more important, prayer warriors for contacting our senators and representatives and praying about these things as he pushes a button to text these warriors that they can be in prayer and contact these representatives. This coming up October 14th, we have the superintendent of schools of Oklahoma. I'm sure some of you have heard a little bit about him, who's requiring that each school will have the Bible within it and it will be taught as history. And that's one of those people who has, like Bonhoeffer, stepped out. And he knew he was going to get a lot of flack from it. We're praying for that. We invite you, if you stop at our booth, we have invitation cards there and information about our banquet coming up. And just thankful for the privilege of being here this weekend.
Say, Bill, so you have the banquet in Sioux Falls on the 14th, right? And in Rapid City on the 21st? On the 21st. So we have folks from West River here today, of course. And so dinners, both sides of the state. Awesome. Thank you, Bill.
Well, good morning. I'm Michael Pauley, director of the South Dakota Catholic Conference. We represent the bishops, Catholic bishops of South Dakota on public policy matters. And so I'm involved in issues in peer lobbying on religious freedom, protection of marriage and the family, educational choice, issues like that. But I must confess that all of that seems like a distant memory now, because for the last 6 months, I've just been focused on Amendment G. You know, every day I wake up and it's all G all the time. And that's how it needs to be, obviously, because of the urgency of the moment. I just wanted to share, and I know some of you have heard these numbers before. They're not pleasant to hear, but it's a reality that we've got to face. The post-election studies in Michigan and Ohio, after they considered their abortion amendments, give us some startling numbers about how Christians voted. The data from Ohio, from a very reliable post-election study, indicates that 31% of weekly church attendees, so these are not the people who are slackers, if you will, but these are the people in church every Sunday, 31% of them voted for issue 1, the abortion amendment in Ohio. The Catholic Conference in Michigan did a post-election study just of our religious tribe. Our numbers were better than this. I mean, Catholics did, a very large majority of Catholics who attend church on Sunday voted the right way in Michigan, but still an unacceptably high number did not. And so all I can say is that within our faith community, we are pulling out all the stops. Our clergy have been preaching on this issue starting in July. We have developed handouts. I've gone to retreats where we've given presentations to the clergy to train them, to get them comfortable talking about the issue. And what I would just say is that we need every Christian community in this state to be doing the same thing, because I really believe that that is going to make the difference in this election. And then the only other thing I would just point out is just to say aloud, amen, that this issue of medical misinformation, do not underestimate the power of that misinformation campaign. If any of you have looked at the ballot measure statement from the Secretary of State's office, the pro-Amendment G statement, the opening line says, politicians and peer have decreed that South Dakota women and girls who are raped must carry to term, thrown miscarriage care into utter confusion, and limited available treatment of extreme pregnancy complications. That's the opening sentence of their pro-Amendment G statement, and trust me, that is what you're going to hear nonstop for the next 6 weeks, and we need to be working overtime to fortify our Christian voters to understand why these statements are lies, and to keep people in that no column. So if there's anything, I'll just mention our website, sdcatholicconference.org. If you go there, you'll see right on the homepage a big thing that talks about Amendment G and also the marijuana ballot measure, which we're also opposed to. But click on the Amendment G resources, and granted, a lot of these are targeted towards a Catholic audience, but they can be easily adapted to speak to Lutherans, to Methodists, to any group out there. I invite you to plagiarize anything on our website that you find useful. Let's win this thing. Thank you.
And Michael, I'll have you know, I have plagiarized you, okay? Michael's claim to fame, he didn't mention it, but is his wife, Camille. Camille is the director of an organization, a ministry called Healing the Culture. And Healing the Culture is one of our gold sponsors, and you'll see their ad in the booklet for Healing the Culture, but a wonderful resource as well. So we appreciate Michael for sharing Camille with the state of South Dakota as well. Linda.
I am Linda Schauer. I'm the State Director for Concerned Women for America of South Dakota. And CWA is the nation's largest public policy women's organization. We're conservative in our philosophy and biblical in our worldview. We've been lobbying at the Capitol for a long time. I think my hair was not this color when I started. And neither was Melissa Magstead, so I have to mention that. We were there when the trigger bill was passed and signed into law by Mike Rounds. And we even go far as back as the Pharmacist Conscience Clause, which was signed into law as well. I invite you to stop back at our table in the room where we had the breakfast and pick up our newsletter. There are 7 important issues on the ballot this November. And I have explained them all to you. I put Amendment G at the top. So if you need some more information on those amendments, stop by and pick up our newsletter and learn about them. CWA works on many of the same bills that Right to Life and Family Voice and Michael's. We all work on the same things together mostly. We get together a lot during session at the River House and discuss the bills and talking points and strategize and everything. And we have supper together. And Debbie has always made supper for us. Debbie was my roommate for many years down at Pierre during the session. And I'm really going to miss her. I miss her now. And I know that emotion is going to be intensified when session starts. So I know when Debbie got to heaven, the Lord said, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant."
Hi, my name's Ray Campbell. I'm the Life Director for the South Dakota Knights of Columbus. I'm here to just share with you a couple of things that are going on with the Knights, and I'm dressed like most Knights of Columbus are on Saturday. We're out there working. We're either, right now, the big projects you see us in Sioux Falls is Build a Bed for Sleep in Heavenly Peace, where beds are delivered to right now over 300 families, and it's a blessing. I mean, that's the stuff that life is about. It's supporting the families, as we were just challenged by the health director moments ago, helping these families. I'm proud to be a Knight because I've been a Knight for well over 30 years here in Yankton and now in Sioux Falls. And as the Life Director, I'm hoping and praying that all of our members, if the Knights of Columbus would just get out and vote no on G and early. We don't want to vote late on G. We don't want to vote on the day of the election. Get in and vote early, because you know shenanigans are going to be played. And we don't want the shenanigans to be some machine that gets broken down, because Amendment G is the target. It's not the officials that are running. It's the target of South Dakota right now. Our job for Knights of Columbus and what we do, we have right now over 139 this last year, which was, it blew me away, 139 ultrasound machines were sent out in the states. And we're the worker bees, the guys that get out there and help raise the money, have fundraisers, have pancake breakfasts, chili feeds, those kind of things to raise that kind of money. In South Dakota this last year, it was at the Haven Center in Watertown. Greg and his crew up there did a tremendous job raising money. And what a blessing that Greg's wife now is the president of the South Dakota Right to Life. We're just so excited. If I can ask my brother knights, are there any brother knights? Stand up for just a second, please, if there's any brother knights here. These are all members of different councils throughout the state of South Dakota. One of the things that I learned too is aftercare is what we call aid and support after pregnancy. It's a program that we have where for every $500 that the local council raises, $100 comes from Supreme Council, which is out of Connecticut, and it's our international headquarters. This last year, Supreme wrote a total of about $1.5 million. That means for every 500, they threw in 100, and I did the quick math, and I'm terrible at math, so somebody double check me. It donated close to $9 million this last year for aftercare. It matters. So my point is a personal story to all of you. If you're in an area where you know some Knights of Columbus, maybe you're not a member of the Catholic Church, but if you know of friends or neighbors who are Knights and you're working with your local pregnancy center, go to them and approach them and say, hey, could you help us? Most likely they already are, but if they're not, give them a nudge, give me a call, and we'll nudge them. And here's why I'm sharing this with you, because we were challenged before by the Department of Health to locally do the work. Wow. This is where it gets hard. We had a situation personally in our family where our daughter and her husband couldn't have kids, so they adopted. They had Micah. Mighty Micah, we call him. He's 5 now. But then we had 2 years ago, coming up, actually just 2 years ago this past week, we were blessed with Hannah. But my daughter and her husband had 3 days to figure out how to come up with $35,000 for the adoption. I went to my council and said, guys, I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm going to ask, could we pray about this? And I told him what was going on, and still today, 2 years later, the members of the council and local councils are still supporting Hannah with diapers and formula, and that $35,000 with the help of another Christian singer was met. Some Knights in action, and that's who we are, the Knights of Columbus, and I'm blessed and thrilled to be here. So thank you.
So folks, it is no secret. Those who know me know that there is no way in the world that I could do what I do in the state of South Dakota as I crisscross thousands of miles, and I know 110 deer by first name, and I do what I do only because I am surrounded by the best. And I tell people all the time that we are stronger and better together. And working with these 5 amazing ministries and organizations makes us the state of South Dakota that we are. Thank them once again for coming.